Most people don't end up living the wrong life by accident. They arrive there slowly, reasonably, with good explanations. That's what makes it dangerous. The wrong life rarely feels wrong at first. It feels stable, functional, responsible. You're not miserable, just muted. Carl Jung believed that when a person ignores essential parts of themselves, those parts don't disappear. They move underground. They become what he called the shadow. Not evil, not dark fantasies, but everything in you that was never allowed to develop. Here's the first sign. You're living the wrong life. You're competent, but uninvolved. You perform well. People rely on you. From the outside, it looks like success, but internally, you feel like an operator, not a participant. You do what's required, not what's meaningful. This isn't laziness. It's disconnection. The second sign is your irritations feel out of proportion. Small things bother you deeply. Other people's confidence annoys you. Certain risks make you irrationally angry. That's not pettiness. That's projection. Jung noticed that what irritates us most in others often points to qualities we disowned in ourselves, not because they're bad, but because they were inconvenient. The third sign: you fantasize about radically different lives, but never move toward them, not because they unrealistic, but because they threaten the structure you've built. So the fantasy stays pure, untouched by effort, uncontaminated by reality. It becomes a psychological pressure valve. Enough to survive, not enough to change. Another sign: you're exhausted by things that shouldn't exhaust you, not physical tiredness, existential fatigue, the kind that sleep doesn't fix. This happens when your energy is spent maintaining an identity rather than expressing one. The cycle resents long-term performance. Eventually, it pushes back. Sometimes through anxiety, sometimes through apathy, sometimes through quiet resentment toward a life you chose willingly. Here's the most uncomfortable sign: you secretly admire people you publicly criticize, not their behavior, their freedom, their refusal, their intensity, their willingness to risk instability. That admiration isn't accidental. It's information. The shadow communicates through attraction and aversion. It doesn't speak politely. It speaks emotionally. The wrong life isn't revealed by suffering alone. Many people suffer in meaningful lives. The wrong life is revealed by stagnation disguised as peace. Nothing is collapsing. Nothing is demanding change. And that's exactly the problem. Jung warned that when a person refuses their inner direction, life doesn't immediately punish them. It dulls them until they can no longer tell whether they're content or simply compliant. This is where people make a mistake. They look for clarity, but clarity doesn't come first. Honesty does. The question isn't, what is my purpose? That's too abstract. The real question is, what part of me did I silence to make this life work? Because that part didn't die. It adopted. It waits in moods, fantasies, irritations, and regrets. Not to destroy your life, but to correct its direction. The shadow doesn't demand you burn everything down. It demands recognition. Ignoring it doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you divided, and a divided person can function for decades without ever feeling fully alive. That's the real cost. Not failure, not pain. Not pain, but the slow realization that you lived carefully and still missed yourself. If this felt uncomfortably specific, it's because something in you already knows. Subscribe to the Mirror Society. We don't tell you what your calling is. We show you what you've been avoiding.